Okay, we bought some land. I guess technically it's got a house on the property, but it took us about 3 years to find this. There's a specific school district that we were looking at that we wanted to stay in for our kids. That's the whole reason why we were moving to begin with, or pretty much the main reason why. Anyway, and then our realtor pulled a rabbit out of a hat. She found this before it hit the market, and we were able to scoop it up at what we think was a pretty good deal. But basically, in order to get a buildable lot here, you'd have to pay quite a bit more than this. Most of the lots in this area are at least double this size. This is a half-acre lot. Most are at least an acre, if not larger. So we're one of the smaller lots around, but we're grateful just to have a buildable lot in this area. Now, some of the details that we were looking at when we were looking at homes or lots to buy, we wanted it to be in this school district, which is it's got a little bit of a community, a little bit of a country feel to it. And one of the issues that we ran into is just the internet in a lot of these locations is quite bad. So we ended up having to search and we found this one. There's a nice resource online. It's broadbandmap.fcc.gov that will tell you pretty accurately what the internet's like. Now, for most people living in the country now, you probably just want to go with Starlink. But if you tend to move large files around, like I have to for my work, then Starlink can be a little bit slow on the upload there. But I'm talking like 10 gigabyte files that I want uploaded in 20-30 minutes, not take hours basically. So I'm a bit of a unique case there. So I wanted somewhere with fiber, and this property has ATT fiber here. So we're grateful for that. Now, a few things that we've since learned. The property, because this is a more country area, the cities have setbacks, pretty large ones. So it means that when we build a house, it can't be any wider than this existing house. Another thing that we've learned is we kind of had the idea that it'd maybe cost like 20 grand or so to knock the house down and kind of get the lot prepared to be able to build on. We've learned that it's going to be at least double that, in part because we've got I don't know if you can see right here, but we've got an old storm shelter, and then there's a septic system that needs to be removed with septic tanks, the house itself, and then a lot of these trees actually need to go just so we have the space in order to build the size of home that we want with the septic system to support it. There's the two nice big oaks in the front of the lot, and you can kind of see it as we walk around. But a lot of these trees in the middle need to go. The oaks in the front are potentially going to need to go. This elm in the back, I'm going to do everything I can to save it. Let me turn around. You can kind of see this elm here in the back. The goal is to save this elm because this lot, the way that it faces, this is west, and in the hot summer months, the sun's gonna set on the west, basically that direction, if you can see where I'm pointing, and this tree is gonna provide the best optimal shade for the back area of the house where we're gonna have windows, right? So that's why that tree has kind of become, at least to me, with the purpose for designing the home, the most important tree to try to save. Little bit of background. So we moved here to Texas, 2.5, 3 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. We were looking to buy, but I've got a medical issue that's causes me to have some pain regularly. And we found by traveling to Germany that when we stay in places where they don't blow around a bunch of air in the home, that my medical condition, the symptoms are way less severe. And in Germany, they just use the radiant heaters underneath the windows. I don't know if you're familiar with that, if you've traveled to Europe at all. Here in the US, they do radiant heating, but in Texas, it's more air conditioning focused, and the easiest way to air condition is by blowing air. So the goal for the home is to build a high performance home. If you watch some of the other YouTube channels, like from Jake Bruton, I think it is, or Steve Basic or Matt Risinger, is kind of the build show guys. We want to do a high performance home because it'll just cut down on the overall need to blow a bunch of air around, at least, you know, the conditioned air. So our goal is to make it airtight, 1 ACH 50 or better. We're planning on going with ICF for various reasons. One, because it gives you a pretty airtight exterior walls, but also just, you know, a nice little safety feature. I guess you'd call it tornado resistant, not tornado proof, but the ICF can help there some. Maybe that's being paranoid, but, you know, as the as the father figure, as the dad who provides and protects my family, you know, that's going to help me to have a little bit of peace of mind, just knowing that we've got some of that safety built in. You can probably hear the cars in the background. Just through these trees is a pretty busy road, so that in part might be why you know, this lot was less desirable. One of the benefits of ICF, though, is it is very sound insulating, meaning that noise shouldn't travel inside. And then if we get high performance windows, you know, that should help as well. So we shouldn't really be able to hear the road noise from the inside. At least that's my hope and expectation. I haven't done any scientific research behind that. I'm just kind of assuming that that's going to be the case. We'll find out if I'm wrong or not. But these are the couple of nice big oak trees. We were hoping to be able to save this one, but as we've dug into it, it's like, basically, in order to keep that elm in the back, we think the house is going to need to pull forward from where this house currently is, and the closer it gets to this tree, the more likely we are, the more effort we're going to have to put into saving the tree, and the higher the risk is that the tree isn't going to survive. I met with an arborist to talk about the tree, and they basically, his advice was we need to put a chain link fence all the way around the critical root area, or the drip area. Basically what that means is, if you look up at where the branches end, you know, figure out where that canopy ends, and everything within there you want to be covered up or protected from construction vehicles, some of these large pieces of equipment. You don't want it driving over the roots, because it'll compact the earth so much that it can actually just shear or cut through the roots. And then that will eventually kill the tree. And I know one of the things that he pointed out is, you know, trees can handle a little bit. These oak trees, he actually indicated, can't handle as much as others, but as other types of trees here. But he was pointing out, you know, that the stresses build up, and the tree will fight to stay alive for a while, but it might die, you know, 5 years down the road or 7 years down the road, and it's because of the stuff done during construction. And you know, another reason why we're thinking we might need to take this tree down, well, one is I like the idea of getting some slabs out of it and built, you know, down the road, maybe building a dining table or breakfast table or something like that. But because we're on this busy road, we're not in a neighborhood, we don't have any on-street parking, so cars are going to need to park in here, which is just going to add more stress to this tree. So if we want to have ample parking to be able to occasionally have, you know, a small party with people over, we're going to need some space here to park. They're going to park on top of the roots of the tree, and that's not good. Not as severe or as bad as the risk of the construction equipment, but still just something to keep in mind. So right now we're thinking that tree's going to go so that we can pull the house forward, so that we have a better chance at saving the elm in the back, so that we get the shading that we want on those. We don't actually have very many west-facing windows, but we have some north-facing windows where the angle of the sun as it sets, it won't be directly through the back. It'll be kind of from the direction of this house towards that corner. And so that tree is positioned just right to be able to help shade some of that light. Tools that I use to be able to do this. So our home designer uses Chief Architect. I'll explain, I'll do a video about how we found our home designer and the builder that we're working with. Chief Architect has some tools built in where you can, you know, put the location, the latitude and longitude for where the property is. You have to set the north direction, and then once you do that, you can fiddle around with the date, and it'll cast the sun with shadows on your home. And then you can see, you know, this is Texas, so in the middle of August, where's the sun gonna be, right? Now, the months that are most difficult to protect against are probably like the September-ish month. So a little bit of background, the sun doesn't travel through the sky the same way year-round, okay? So at different seasons, the sun is in different places in the sky, okay? So in the summer months, the sun is more straight over top, okay? But then in the winter months, the sun is more down at an angle. So the sun would be where my fingertips are, and then the house would be kind of at my elbow, if that makes sense. So in the summer, the sun is straight up like this. In the winter, the sun is, this is for this is for homes in the northern hemisphere. If you're watching this and you're in a different hemisphere, you know, the southern hemisphere, then it flips. But anyway, the sun would be where my fingers are here in the winter if this direction is south, right? So you intentionally try to design your windows to have some good overhangs so that the sun in the south, on the south side in the winter, can shine light in, but only during the winter. Whereas the sun starts going higher in the sky into the spring and the fall, right? The overhangs from the windows start blocking that sunlight, if that makes sense, so that it doesn't enter the home. Direct sunlight gives you heat via radiation, not like, I mean, I guess technically it might be the same type of radiation that like a nuclear power plant emits, just at a low dosage, right? So it's okay. At least I think some of that is good for vitamin D and other stuff. But anyway, yeah, so I can make a video about the sun angles and stuff like that if people would like. The other tool that I used there was Google Earth. So you can go in with Google Earth and you can adjust the date, and you can watch the sun and the way that it travels over a property and get a good sense for where it will be at different times of the year. And at least for me, and this is what I found online, in the northern hemisphere, it seems like in warm climates, it's that September-ish, August, September months where it's really hot, and those are the months that are most difficult to protect against, because the sun isn't at its high point like it is in June and July. It's already started coming down a little bit, but you still want the overhangs to protect it. So that's kind of the cutoff that I've been working against, is if I can protect against the sun, you know, here in all of August and most of September, then we're pretty set there. Anyway, we are thrilled that we bought this lot. We're a little bit cautiously optimistic about the cost of everything, yeah, we'll see how things go. But thanks for watching this, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll talk to you later. I just wanted to take a quick second to show you this broadband map. This is how you can figure out what internet is available at specific lots. So you go to broadbandmap.fcc.gov, and then you just punch any old address in and it'll take you there. And at least as far as I've seen, these lists, oh, let me fix this. There we go. This list on the right hand side, these are fairly accurate, but not 100% accurate. So if you're banking on using a specific one, like say this Metronet Holdings fiber to the premises, before you purchase the lot, I would give that company a call and just make sure that they actually are offering what the broadband fcc.gov site says. Anyway, hope that's helpful.